Hello, my name is Tang, and I'll be doing this discussion about game writing or story writing for games. And for the background of this video, I'm going to be using two different games. One that I think has a very good story, and one that I think has a terrible story. So for the first game that I'll be showing, it's going to be Dragon Ball Z Fighters. Now, I consider this game to have an extremely bad story, and that's because the story mode of this game is very lackluster. Let me give you a good example of it. Excuse me. So, as soon as you start the game, it starts you off here with this very bland looking title screen with the very light blue coloration of the letters. Starting off, the animations look very nice. I mean, that's one thing every good game needs in 2018 is really good animations that are extremely smooth and fluent. So think of this as the trailer of the story mode. It looks good. It looks compelling, which is good. Compelling trailers like these will drag in people to come play their games, and this is what they need. But the trailer and the actual story mode is two completely different things. Even the animations are different, and I hate that about this story mode. So if I can hurry up and get there. So when you enter through story, when you first start story mode, it's going to be nothing but text. The animations are very sloppy, as well as they don't feel aligned at all to what you're pressing. The story mode and the gameplay is completely different though. Gameplay wise, it's very fluent, smooth, but making a story mode look different from the gameplay is very, very odd. So I've already been through all the story mode, and it took me about 3 hours sitting through all of this, and I could not have been more bored. So first off, you can tell how slow the animations may be, and that's one thing I could not stand about the story mode, and I hated that. Now I'm speaking of the animation aspects instead of the story itself. The story itself, it's very boring. I don't want to go through the entire story because that's 3 hours long, and that's terrible. But the story of this game was very boring. It made no sense. They introduced new characters and old characters and all kinds of useless characters who weren't really that important inside of the story mode. This scenario here as well, where you, the player, takes control of a person's soul. It doesn't really make sense. They kind of just throw it at you, which is an immediate kind of plot hole because they never tell you why or how you're like that or why that happened. But pretty much you take control of other characters' soul so you can use them, which is very nonsense. It's nonsense. It does not make sense to the story at all. The only reason why I actually played through the story mode was because you needed it to unlock a character. It wasn't worth it. So enough of this game, because I'm not gonna sit through this ever again. But actually, let me show you one more aspect of this game before I actually move on to the other game, which I believe has an amazing story. This right here, this is the map of the story mode. So off the bat, you can tell one thing, and it's that the map looks like a board game. Similar to the older games, though, they were also like board games, but in this kind of board game, there's no adventure aspect to it. There's only move there, move here, and once you move to a certain spot, you begin fighting. There's no story, there's no dialogue. It's just this little scene and then a fight. That's all it is. So with that story aspect and the story mode itself, it's very boring. Now to the other game, which I believe is a fantastic game. I'm sure it's been going on for a while. Is the game called Undertale. Undertale is one of the most amazing games that I've played. One, because it's an indie game with somewhat terrible graphics, but graphics don't really matter, I feel like. Huh. Pardon me, but I feel like I just discovered something new in this game. What? Okay, sorry for that long moment of silence. So, before I came to silence, I was talking about how I believe this game has an amazing storyline. And the reason for this silence is because as I was loading up this game, my screen completely bugged out. And it brought me here. And I've never seen this before. I've never been here myself before. I've never seen any videos about this. So I'm kinda surprised that this happened. Also because I haven't opened up this game in like a year. So wow. So before I continue with this, this is a perfect example of what I mean when I talk about a fantastic story. I open up the game, and instead the game bringing me to the start screen, it brings me to a complete surprise, surprising the player to this very odd screen, and then it goes into dialogue with some very odd choice of music. As right now, there is no music. There's maybe a single track playing of sound. And there is text on the screen, so that's part of the story as well. And one thing I love about this story is how the game talks back to you as if it's breaking through the fourth wall. And now, story writing like this is very important in a lot of games because this is what makes the player want to progress through their games. And writing like this is not easy at all. It takes time to write a very good story. And wow. I still can't move. I kind of want to finish this because I've never been here and I need to stop the recording. But this is basically my discussion on game writing and what I think of game writing. And thank you.